So a COR will have the high intensity moves when it matches perfectly with the lunar cycle. And also as COR is a bigger cycle, it will have more orb. Roughly, a COR cycle can have an orb of 3 to 6 days, whereas we know that a lunar cycle cannot have more orb than 2 days. So how do you know that where is the COR turn? The thing is, most of the time you really don't need to know where is the exact turn if you are not dealing with price and squaring methods and finding out how where are the price pivots. So let's say we take example of this turn we have the same date for the COR turn and the lunar turn. It's 3rd April of 2022, and later on we see that the turn of the lunar is roughly on 11th. So if we have the COR turn here or even here, it really does not matter, because we are going to assume that most of the or all of the COR turns are going to be on the same date when the lunar cycle actually makes a turn. So what this means is there will never be a COR turn where there is no lunar turn. It can be like this: the 11th April we have a lunar turn and the COR turn is, let's say, 14th April. So we know by the polarity, because when you are forecasting you also know the polarity, so you know there is not two turns. So there has to be a turn in between 11, actually in between 10th and 14th. So where is the lunar turn? We see where is the lunar turn. The lunar turn is on 11th. So I'm actually 99% confirmed that the COR turn is also going to be on the 11th. And in the market, with my experience, I can say it works exactly like this. So if you see, I have kept few turns separate. Is there an intention? No, I just want you to see the lines separately. They are the same turns. Okay, they are the same turns. So what do we do with this turn? We have no COR turns in these lunar dates. This is fine. It can be like that, but it can never be like this, that we have a COR turn where there is no lunar turn. It has to connect to this, or there has to be inversion of lunar cycle. A COR cycle will always pivot on a lunar cycle or a lunar inversion pivot. So we have seen this example, right? So why do we need a COR cycle? There are a couple of important points that we need to think about when we seek a COR cycle. Why do we need them? The COR cycle, because they actually pivot together. Together, by together I mean is the COR cycle will always pivot on a lunar cycle pivot. So for this purpose, if we have an inversion on our lunar cycle, so by watching the COR cycle, we know that there has to be something wrong, because it cannot happen that the COR cycle is making a high and the lunar cycle is low on the same date, or roughly around 3 to 4 days range, because these two cycles will never contradict. They will always be in harmony. Okay, so if you go through the book The Tunnel Through the Year, there is no example or no direct references of how to use these cycles together. Okay, for that you need someone who knows this Gann cycles, WD Gann's cycles, planetary cycles or LOV cycles, it does not matter. But the thing is, you need someone who knows this stuff, because this knowledge or information, you can say, it's supposed to be like that. WD Gann hid this info for a purpose. It is supposed to be transferred to generation, and this information will never be available in any free platform directly. So if you are seeking like cycles or length of COR cycles in the YouTube or in the Google, it is never possible. You will never find one. So stop wasting your time and try to find someone who knows this stuff, the real stuff. Okay, so let's get to the video again. To find out a COR cycle or informations about a COR cycle or making a COR cycle work in your market, it is very important that you understand you have to have your lunar cycle working perfectly, and you have to use the complete lunar cycle. If any of my subscribers, so first put more focus on the lunar cycle, try to make the lunar cycle working, and definitely you will have to perfect this lunar cycle before you start hunting the COR cycle. You cannot actually jump without getting into the lunar cycle. You cannot find out and use the COR cycle, because these cycles are at their best form when they are together. And definitely the COR cycle is incomplete without the lunar cycle. So you cannot make the lunar cycle work. And also a very important point that I want to talk about is a COR cycle is instrument dependent. By instrument dependent, what I mean is a lunar cycle will work on 90% or above markets. One lunar cycle, there is like two lunar cycles. Okay, so there is one special lunar cycle that will work on 95% of the markets. Okay, but the problem with COR cycles is there are more cycles in the COR platform than the lunar, but they do not work with every instrument. Like for example, if I say that there is a COR cycle which is called XYZ, and it will only work in BTC USD. Okay, so what it means that if you use that XYZ cycle in, let's say, Euro USD, it might not work. It does not mean that the cycle is not good or the cycle is bad. What it means is that XYZ cycle is not dominant on that market.